But with Jane Austen is this idea that sort of became popularized in the Victorian era, especially after Edward Austen Leigh's memoir of sweet Aunt Jane, that she had this life of no incident and that she was this sweet little spinster lady just sitting at her tea table writing these very sweet, polite novels. Even her tombstone in Winchester Cathedral talked about, I think, the sweetness of her disposition and the tenderness of her heart, but said nothing about her writing novels. So I think one of the things that I love doing in the performances I give is just opening out the world of Austen a little bit. And when I'm in character talking about the adventures that her brothers Frank and Charles are having, with the Royal Navy traveling all over the world, that her cousin Eliza, her husband was executed at the guillotine. She had experience of all these things. And although she was no longer alive, her brother Henry did attend the 1840 World Anti-Slavery Convention. She's very aware of these things that are going on. And I think one opportunity that these performances gives audiences is when I'm in character, I can talk about as much of this as I'm able up until she passes away or until the performance is set in 1815. And then when I do the Q&A and I come out of character, they can ask about how these things might have influenced Austen in her work. And I think, especially people who are only familiar with perhaps, film adaptations, which is a great way to come into Austen, but it's lovely to give them an opportunity to say, the Napoleonic Wars are happening, the abolition movement is happening, the French Revolution is happening. Jane is aware of all of this, and her novels are responding to it in ways that audiences at the time would probably have noticed that we may not see unless we know what clues to look for. And so I love using the performances as an opportunity to highlight some of those clues.